Alright, hello everyone. I know I do not want to have to talk about politics on my birthday, but unfortunately that's where things have become, as I'm going to lower the camera a little bit. You all can see me better in a better frame here, but yes, we got to get into the results of... I'm not going to go into Virginia or that, but I figured I want to focus strictly on the New York and the New Jersey races. As my tablet goes off there. But very quickly, I just want to talk about the government shutdown. Can we please just get a deal done? I mean, please. This is the longest one in our country's history. This surpasses the 2018-2019 one. Look, I really hope Hochul here in New York and Murphy in New Jersey are not offering lip service, because from what I've heard, they are trying to provide the SNAP benefits for this month, given that the people who do receive SNAP, I mean, how are they going to pay for their Thanksgiving meals in the next couple of weeks? I know the supermarkets are starting to offer their free turkeys, but still, I mean, there's other stuff that people need in the interim. You got the courts playing politics. One court is saying, oh, we'll let you restore the SNAP benefits, but then the Supreme Court's like, nah, no SNAP until the Congress gets its act together. So, who knows how long the shutdown is going to last. Kalashi thinks it's going to go well into Thanksgiving, which I've been thinking for a while. And I was telling one of my liberal friends who was basically bowing down to Mamdani, I was telling her, you know, you may be right. I mean, there's a possibility if you go on Kalashi, which Kalashi was right about Mamdani from the start. We'll get into Sorohan in a little bit, but yeah, I mean, we could be looking well into Thanksgiving. This is also affecting flights. Listen, this is going to be bad because the next couple of weeks is supposed to be very busy for air travel. Not only with Thanksgiving coming up, but we got a lot of tourists coming into New York for Maroon 5 in next week. It's supposed to be like 50,000 people expected to see Maroon 5 in a 2-night span. So, can we please just get this shutdown over with already? Oh, not to mention, California, a lot going on in Los Angeles. You have Sabrina Carpenter's residency at the Crypto.com Arena. And then not to mention, you have the Wicked for Good movie premiere. You know, a lot of people from the East Coast are going to fly out to the West Coast for that. So, again, can we just get this shutdown solved, please? I mean, come on. Schumer, Jeffries, what are we doing here? Stop playing politics. You know, I get that we're all upset about the Medicare, the Medicaid cuts, and, you know, we're upset about the Affordable Care Act premiums, but give me a break. Stop playing political theater. People's lives are getting impacted. People haven't gotten paid in a month who are contractors with the federal government. Please, just stop it. It sounds like they're working this weekend from what I saw on the news this morning, but let's hope and pray. Let's hope and pray. I figured I want to start off with New Jersey. Only because, you know, I'll get into the whole theory about interest rates and how it could impact my move to Delaware next couple of months, because it looks like I'm leaving New York, not at Mamdani one, but first things first, let's get into New Jersey, because I feel that, you know, it's important that we compare the 2025 and the 2021 numbers. I'm going to look at it on my computer in just a second here. So, the first thing we need to get into is the fact that Mikey Sherrill had a great performance on Tuesday night. The congresswoman from Montclair the former Navy helicopter pilot. Now, look, she looked a little shaky a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. But in the home stretch, she really took off. I have a theory, and I have a friend of mine in Red Bank, and she actually went to the rally, and I'm not going to say who she is, but she was at the rally for Mikey Sherrill out in Red Bank. So this is a friend of mine who's lived in Red Bank for a while. She told me the enthusiasm for Mikey was beyond ecstatic. Now, this is an area of New Jersey that typically goes Republican. Typically, they always go Republican, but the enthusiasm for Mikey Sherrill really picked up. And on election night, at one point, Sherrill actually had a brief lead in Monmouth County. Now, again, Monmouth County typically goes Republican. And Jack Gettarelli, who this was his third time running, and I'm sorry, but Jack's chance was really in 2021 because he wasn't really aligned with Donald Trump. Nobody really assumed he was all MAGA this, MAGA that. I do feel that the whole aligning himself with Trump factor may have hurt him in the counties that went for him in 2021. So I'll go over the numbers in terms of New Jersey. It's 2021 specifics, because when you look at Gloucester County, you look at, I think it was it Cape May County? No, Atlantic County, right. Jack lost Atlantic County in New Jersey. Under no circumstances, if you're going to make the margin of error thin like you did against Phil Murphy in 2021, I mean, you needed to win Atlantic and Gloucester County. Once I heard on Tuesday night when the polls closed after 8 o'clock, when I heard the numbers were coming in, I was like, oh boy, this is bad for Jack. There's no way he can make up this deficit. Mikey may have this. And then once the numbers came in, you knew the inevitable was coming. The crazy thing also I want to mention, and I had the 2021 numbers literally right in front of me, was the fact that I think Jack may have lost Morris County. Oh boy. So if Jack couldn't carry Monmouth County, that's for sure knowing that his night was done. You knew that was over. So, yeah, I mean, very embarrassing night for Jack Gettarelli. I would just say to Jack that his political career is over. Again, this is the third time that he's run for governor. He should just quit and give up. Enough. Now, I do think the Republicans in 2029 do have a good candidate. And I know I'm going to spill the name out. And he did run the last time because the Republicans were so brainwashed in Jersey over Jack Gettarelli. I think Bill Spadea should try to give it a go again in 2029. We'll see. Because you got to hold Mikey accountable if she's not keeping her promises. I do hope that Mikey will keep her promise of lowering utility costs. I'm keeping optimism that, that's the way it'll work out. I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic that things will look good. And that's the way it looks at the moment. I'm keeping optimism for Jersey. I don't want to be rude saying that, oh, Mikey will do a bad job. Mikey will, she's not a socialist. She is a moderate Democrat. She's not believing in the policies that Mamdani is planning to do. I do hope that Mikey can be fully transparent about New Jersey Transit. It sounds like she wants to be fully involved in New Jersey Transit's process. So I'm keeping optimism that she will do a great job with that. Obviously, we know that her husband rides New Jersey Transit's Montclair-Boonton line on a daily basis. In fact, people on the Montclair-Boonton line have recognized Governor-elect Cheryl's husband, and they're always telling her husband, look, there's always a constant problem with New Jersey Transit. Can your wife do something about this or that? Hopefully Mikey keeps her promise on that. And I also want to keep faith that she'll keep the Murphy administration's policies on pine barren control. This is something that I do care about if I am moving to Delaware, because obviously over the years in the Murphy administration, we've had a lot of problems with Wharton State Forest. Sometimes in Delaware, the air quality can be affected by that. I mean, I hope that Mikey will be proactive into that whole process of controlled wildfire burns in the Pine Barrens. Jack really didn't say anything about it during the campaign, but hopefully the affordability crisis can be solved in New Jersey. Hopefully Mikey can handle New Jersey Transit, and hopefully something can be done. We can prevent wildfires from getting out of hand. I do think Mikey will be hands-on, but if somehow in some way things aren't going well and taxes continue to go up, which could be a big factor in 2029, and if crime is not handled in New Jersey and you hear this or that in 4 years, then again, wouldn't surprise me if Bill Spadea gave it another crack at it to run for governor of New Jersey. Because I could see him trying again. I wouldn't be surprised if he... Because I think now he has a clear path to the nomination now that the Republicans in New Jersey are going to tell Jack, quit it already. You run 3 times. You should have won in 2021. That was your chance. You blew it. And you got basically creamed this time around. So just stop. Give somebody else a chance in 2029. So, that's where I will leave it at. Now, before I get to New York City and why I'm antsy about the interest rates going down the next couple of months and possibly me becoming a first-time home seller in 2026, let's get into Nassau County. Now, if you follow me on Facebook, I'm starting to activate the Facebook page more often, put the reels from TikTok on there so I can get some interactions on there, if I can find it. So here's the letter I wrote the day after the election, because I was so furious. And if I offend some people in Nassau County, good for you, because we're going to talk about your county executive and how naive he really is. So here's the letter I wrote. Quote, and one of my liberal friends in Franklin Square who voted for Kozlow agreed with me on this. Dear Nassau County, last night you chose arrogance over common sense. You had great moderate candidates running for various offices. Instead, you chose blowhard leaders who shoved their points of views down your throats. It's clearly obvious that Democrats are no longer welcome in Nassau County, which, by the way, there are a lot more registered Democrats in Nassau County than the Republicans are, but apparently the Republicans came out and voted early. I didn't vote that. But the North Shore used to be a very safe Democratic haven of Great Neck, Manhasset, Port Washington, for an example. All of a sudden now they've become fully flown Republican. Here we go. Jennifer DeSantis has shown her true colors, putting out all those nasty attack ads against her Democratic opponent, Dave Kerpen. I said in the letter, the Nassau GOP and Joe Cairo used smear and fear tactics that also hurt the town of Hempstead candidate Josh Shapiro, town of Oyster Bay candidate Sam Schnott, who ran against Joe Saladino. So Shapiro won against John Beretti. Also hurt the chances of the district attorney candidate Nicole Aloise against Dan Donnelly. And of course, legislator Seth Kozlow. So, I said in the letter that 2027, which is going to be a year out, these candidates for the town supervisor seats, because thankfully town supervisors are a 2-year term. So, thankfully the year before a presidential election, you can get people to turn out, hopefully. I mean, we don't know how it used to work, but now there's enthusiasm, I think. So now, I want to get to your county executive, Bruce A. Blakeman. And oh boy, he's thinking about running for governor. And let me say this. My message to Bruce Blakeman is it's clearly obvious. Bruce, just back away, please. We have our nominee in 2026. I mean, the Republicans have already opened their arms to endorsing Elise Stefanik. And I'll read a letter that, let me see if I can find, I know I had the letter here from the New York City Council Republican Conference. So I'm going to read this. Now more than ever, as unapologetical radical socialist Sorhan Mamdani is poised to take over New York City Hall, we need a governor who will be a firewall against the excesses of his dangerous far-left agenda. Somebody who will be a fighter for hard-working New Yorkers struggling every day under the burden of disastrous Democratic policies. Someone with the integrity, the vision, and the courage to take on the corrupt Albany machine. We need Elise Stefanik. We encourage our fellow Republicans to stand with us and with Elise for governor. So that way we can take back Albany and make New York a great state again. So everybody in the Republican fields knows that we have to take down the Wicked Witch of Buffalo. Because that's what Kathy Hochul is. She's that mean-looking, nasty witch from Buffalo who forced down congestion pricing down our throats when Andrew Cuomo actually was saying, oh, now I'm having second thoughts. If I was governor, I would have paused it, knowing that we have an affordability crisis. See, at least Cuomo, I'll give him credit. Maybe somebody gave him a slap on the face, because Italians do that all the time, because I'm part Italian. So it's a traditional thing that Italians do normally. I don't encourage violence. But maybe somebody did. And, I'm just like, maybe somebody did. But yes, she shoved down congestion pricing down our throats. She continues to raise our taxes every single year. Well, the good thing is the state sales tax is at 8.4%. So at least, remember when I was running for state senate and I proposed to lower the state sales tax to 7.4% in one of the state budgets I was going to propose? Yeah, I was going to do that if I defeated John Liu, but that's a whole nother can of worms I don't want to get into right now. Income tax, my ex-girlfriend, she's constantly complaining, oh, every time I file my 1099, state of New York is constantly taking away my income. How can I afford this and that? Look, I feel bad for her in that sense. You all know who she is. When she has to file her income tax every single year, the only good thing I'll say about Blakeman, my ex-girlfriend's paying about $4,000 less property taxes on her property in Mineola than I am. I'm paying over $10,000 here in Queens. So Hochul continues to raise our taxes. she somehow, in some way, can shove down this or that. I mean, we've had enough of her, for crying out loud. We've got to come together and make sure that Elise is our governor in 2026. Look, I'm upset that she voted for the big, beautiful bill. But what's the alternative? We continue this bad cycle of disastrous policies. Also, by the way, you folks in Manhattan, yeah, you overwhelmingly put Alvin Bragg for another term as your district attorney. We've talked about him on this channel numerous times. I'm pretty sure my relatives in Manhattan overwhelmingly voted for him, even though I was constantly trying to make sure that Maud Maron would be the next district attorney in Manhattan. So, you know what might have hurt Nicole? I forget the third-party candidate, but why did they put a third-party candidate as an independent in Manhattan? Thank goodness. See, the only good thing is at least we have a DA here in Queens that's going to stick up for us. I mean, I've said good things about Melinda Katz. So, look, I don't know what's going to happen in terms of Bruce. It's clearly obvious that things went the way for Bruce like they did. I think the town of Hempstead may need to reevaluate their... they may need to reevaluate their... I'm trying to think. I know I saw something that Josh Shapiro was saying. The town of Hempstead was saying, look, there's a possibility that they could look into the appointment of John Barretti back in August after Don Clavin resigned. Josh Shapiro was saying that he may have to go to court in Mineola on Monday to see, again, was John Barretti illegally appointed the town of Hempstead supervisor? There is a possibility that that could be under investigation, but you know how Nassau County politics work. It's the same old that it's been like that for years. It all dates back to when Edward P. Mangano was their county executive. So, we'll see. Joe has again suggested that he may give it another try in 2027, which a lot of people were talking to him after his loss, and Joe was saying there's two possibilities. One, there could be a special election if something is found about John Barretti's appointment in August, and then scenario number two, maybe Joe's going to give it another try again in 2027, so we'll see. As far as Dave Kirpin is concerned, you know, if Charles Schumer retires, and I'll say this to Dave, why doesn't Dave run for the Senate? You know, Dave reminds me of John Vetterman. The way that I've been talking to Dave during the campaign, and I did talk to Dave a lot, he sort of does remind me of John Vetterman. Moderate Democrat who will stick up for what's right. Just go on YouTube and search for John Vetterman, because I know two of my Pennsylvania friends know who he is because they live in Pennsylvania. I mean, John did come out and endorse Andrew Cuomo, I think a couple days before the New York City mayoral election, and said, no, I'm not supporting Mamdani, he's a socialist. So, Dave was supporting Cuomo. In fact, the Nassau County Democrats were rooting for Cuomo to win. How do I know this? Because, again, I know people, right places. I had a relative in Great Neck. He told me that if he was in the city, he would have voted for Cuomo in the primary because he's a registered Democrat. And that would have divided my family because somehow, some way, they ended up voting for Mamdani. Hey, think about this. I still love my dad, and he voted for Cuomo. So go figure that out. But, yeah, I mean, we'll get to New York City right now. I want to get that over with. So, look, I was proud to stand with Curtis Lewa through the end. But at the end of the day, the socialist won. A lot of people who are not from New York don't know the real New York experience because, again, today is my 30th birthday. I was telling my Long Island friends last night, I was on a call with them, some of them. You know, these were people in Long Island that stuck with Curtis to the end, too. And they were, you know, helping Curtis's campaign out. I was telling them, look, I mean, a lot of these people who voted for Mamdani, I know one friend of mine, she's from Wisconsin, she fell in love with Mamdani's enthusiasm. Oh, you've never been through what I've been through. She knows who she is that she's watching. I mean, look at me. I've been through 9/11. I've been through the recession, the Great Recession, right? I've been through Occupy Wall Street. I've been through 2 writers' strikes. Yeah, when I was a kid, I actually saw one of the pickets in Manhattan when I was taking a day trip one day with my school. But I was more involved in the 2023 strike, as many of you know. Same with SAG-AFTRA. So, yeah, I've been through that. I've been through the migrant crisis. I've seen the Roosevelt Hotel firsthand through my eyes. You know that video I did. What else have I been through? Right. Superstorm Sandy, been through that one. I've been through the blackout of 2003. And, yeah, COVID. The worst days of COVID. So these people don't know what it's like. They've never been in my shoes. Oh! And especially for you people who are out-of-towners who first took part in the mayoral election. Yeah, here's one of the other disasters I've lived through. The Great Subway Meltdown of 2017. Yeah, anybody remember that? So, this Mamdani guy, I'm telling you, don't be surprised if you hear anti-Semitism attacks up in New York City the next couple of weeks. It's going to get bad. Now, I said it in the short the other night when Mamdani won. You know, God forbid you're about to become the victim of a violent crime and then all of a sudden you call 911 and there's an automated message saying, you know, your call cannot be completed as dialed. Like, that's what Mamdani's going to do. He's going to defund the police. And then Jessica Tisch, I mean, first of all, the fire commissioner just resigned, Robert Tucker. So Jessica, let's see if she sticks around, but even if she does, how long is she going to last? Because secretly she wanted Cuomo to win. But I'll make 2 more points before I wrap up this video. I want to talk about Curtis Lewa, and then we're going to talk about how real estate could get affected. First things first, again, I wrote it out with Curtis. I was proud to. If you saw what I posted on X this morning, I said, look, WABC radio made a cheap stint to try to get Curtis back. Curtis is not coming back to WABC. I mean, why would you go back to the station where all the hosts were bashing you? Oh, Curtis, you must drop out. We're selling our souls to Andrew Cuomo. Wait, come on. Curtis is not going back to WABC. I mean, does he do his own podcast? Does he want to do this or that? I don't know what will happen, but Curtis has jobs to do. Like, the Guardian Angels is still a non-for-profit 501c3 organization. I looked them up. So Curtis can still do his work with the Guardian Angels. The Guardian Angels still have their mission. They could still fundraise. Curtis could get money from that still. He still has millions of dollars available to him. So Curtis is going to be busy doing that. And I wish Curtis all the successes with the Guardian Angels, because that's going to happen. But more importantly, Curtis has got to speak up for the animals, because Mamdani isn't. I mean, what's going to happen if the horse carriages are still sticking around Central Park? The no-kill shelters, I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't want to get into that. So, listen, Curtis doesn't need WABC radio anymore. Alright? Even his own son has said that he's not coming back. So if his own son, Anthony, is saying, oh, he's not coming back. Exactly. I mean, what if my own father was in that situation? I mean, my dad and Curtis are basically the same age. They're both in their 70s. Look. At the end of the day, I wish Curtis Lee were the best. I certainly would hope that Governor Cuomo will do what's best for him. I'm sure when Mayor Adams leaves, he'll do what he wants to do and enjoy his life after being mayor. I mean, there is a part where I will miss Eric Adams, but yes, we're not going to get into that. So before I wrap this up, it looks like I am leaving New York as of now. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It's up to my parents at this point. We'll figure out what happens the next couple of months. You know, I'm really antsy for the interest rates to get cut. Because you think the Jewish neighborhoods are going to last in New York City? I don't know. I mean, how many Jews really stick around New York City now that Mamdani won? Because Mamdani's just going to enable anti-Semitism to go up. If the Jews want to flee, then again, I'm going to probably be one of them too. Will a lot of the Jewish neighborhoods see a demographic change? I don't want to say what the demographics are going to be. Because Fresh Meadows, this neighborhood, was always Italian Jewish for a lot of years, and then the Asians came in. So we've had the same demographics here in Fresh Meadows now for like the past 30-something years of mixed Jews and Asians. But I don't want to say what it's going to be because it'll get this video flagged. Oh, don't say the M word, Andy. You're going to get canceled. No, I'm not going to say the M word. You use your imagination, figure out that M word, and you'll figure out what the demographic change is going to be. All I'll just say, it begins with M-U-S. And that's it. Don't type into the comments, because I will delete those comments if I see them. Please. I don't want this video getting flagged. But, yeah, I'll see how the interest rates go down. That's going to be one of my determining factors of selling my house now, because, I don't know. Am I going to get $1 million? Because I can openly disclose that, given that if you go on Realtor.com or Redfin, or you look at the real estate listings for Fresh Meadows as of now, my neighborhood, I don't know. Will the 1.2 average medium home sell price still be the same? I mean, I might get less, but hey, think about this. There will be a lower interest rate. So no matter what I'm getting, I'm still going to get something. If somebody's desperate to buy my house, given the location is perfect, close to Nassau County, then yeah, I'll be patient with the feds. A lot of interest rate cuts coming next year, and especially because Trump is going to appoint a new Fed chair. So we have to wait until May. And if those interest rates continue to go down into the summer, then believe me, I'm listing. Believe me, I'm going to list if the interest rates continue to get cut. Because Sean Hannity keeps saying, oh, once Trump puts a new Fed chair in, if you're fleeing New York, you actually got lucky if you're a first-time home seller. And you want to go to a better living situation, then you'll be better off knowing that you got your home listed, somebody took out a loan with a lower interest rate, and yeah. But pray for us in New York City. Mamdani is a socialist. He's going to defund the police. There's going to be anti-Semitism everywhere. The free buses, that's not really going to be realistic because I will be speaking to the MTA board about that. So, November 19th, I think it is. I will be speaking to the MTA board about that. I'll get into the specifics with them on why they should not make the buses free. Because Mamdani thinks, oh, I'm the mayor. I can get that done easy. You need the MTA board to approve that. So I'm going to be speaking to the MTA board about that on the 19th. About the free buses that he's proposing. Oh, I'm going to freeze the rent. Can't do that easy. Because that has to go through the Rent Guidelines Board. You see, Mamdani is so naive that, again, he doesn't know how New York City works. And then the government-run grocery stores. I am worried about that, because that might get through the city council. Oh, and one more thing before I wrap this up. You people in the Bronx, shame on you. Christy Realmuto lost! So that's perfect. Now the Republicans are down a seat in the council. I mean, I'll just say this to Christy. She did a good job in the council. I'm going to miss her. Will she try to run for re-election in 2029? We'll see, but trust me, I'm upset that Christy lost. You know, I was really hoping that Christy Realmuto would win, but sadly, she lost her re-election bid up in the Bronx. So, yeah, again, I'm praying for Mikey Sherrill to do a good job in New Jersey. New York City, again, Mamdani, you're a socialist, you're a communist, you don't know how things really work, you're just a young, naive punk who came from Uganda and don't understand how things are supposed to actually work in New York City. And Bruce Blakeman, just stop being arrogant and naive. Just focus on your job as Nassau County Executive and just support Elise Stefanik. Because we don't need the Republican Party in the state of New York being divided as it is. Everybody's picking a bone with Curtis Lewa. Hey, think about this. At least Ed Day won Rockland County Executive re-election. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to say on my birthday. I'm going to get going. So thank you for watching, and let's be patient with what's going to happen. So, take care, everyone.